Hey, it's John David here. In this video, I'm going to walk you through how to approach survey data and then give you a little use case of how you can start to slice and dice and come up with some interesting insights with this sample survey set. So the first thing we're going to do is connect to this set. So I've already prepped this sample file. We're just going to connect to it. It's an Excel file. Pretty simple there. So I wanted to point out some interesting facts about survey data and how it's different from, I come from the manufacturing space and sales and inventory management. So those are pretty deep sets. Unfortunately, a lot of surveys, there aren't a huge amount of respondents, but there are a lot of data points collected. So it's a very wide, but not always so deep data set. But there's one thing that we can do to help make this a little bit more manageable in Tableau. So what we can do is pivot this data. So we come to the first question, select that, and then drag all the way to the last, hit shift so all of them are selected, hit this drop down and pivot the data. So what that does is it takes it from here's a question, here are the responses, here's another question, here are the responses. It takes it and it flips it so here are all the questions and here are all the responses, and that makes it so much easier to manage within Tableau. So I like to change the names to make this a little bit clearer. So question, answer. So let's see what this looks like. So you drag in the question. Yeah, see there are a lot of questions there. And then let's look at the answers. So looking at it from an aggregate level, it's not very useful, which is it was a bit of a shock for me because coming from a manufacturing and sales space, the aggregate numbers are what we're focusing on. But within survey, if you want to get much more granular. So I'm going to add in number of records so you can see how many times a respondent responded with each answer. So what you can do is throw this into a bar chart and start to see the responses broken down. But it's not really effective to look at all the questions. So let's filter by just a couple. Let's look at how would you rate your overall impression by the product and how satisfied are you? Okay. So now this is starting to show a little bit. So it looks like most people who answered these two questions are very satisfied. But that's not really telling you much. So let's look at each question individually. We got to flip this here. So now here are the two questions and here are the responses. So it looks like, are you satisfied with the product? It is a 50-50 split. So half the people are, half the people are not. But there's a lot more differentiation here in that some people are somewhat positive on the impression and then some are very positive. So it would be good from an analyst perspective to drill down and say, why is this only somewhat positive? Why some people are very positive? So what we can do is move this into color, and now you're starting to see just a different view of it. So I like this view a little bit better because it's much more linear. But the reason I really switched it into this view is that now we can start to drill down into who are the people using the products and how are they responding. So now we have office manager, physician, and technicians. So the office managers, they're fine. They are having very positive or 100%. That's awesome. Unfortunately, the physicians are split here, 50-50. And they're split from very positive to somewhat positive. And how would you rate your impression, and then how satisfied are you? So their impression is good, but for some reason they're not satisfied, which is a little odd. So we can maybe set up a second survey focusing just on physicians and say, hey, why are you not completely satisfied with this product? And then we could take that back to our development team and change those issues. But what's really curious here is there seems to be some type of problem with technicians. Although this could just be a disgruntled technician who had one bad experience and there's only one response. So this could be a bit of an anomaly, but if if this were a survey where this said 100 instead of just one, then that is a red flag, and you really need to investigate what's going on here.